Alright guys, so we're going to be doing another quick and dirty style guide, and this time we're going to be doing it for our boy Keelan. Keelan is a great Descendant, and again, the reason I'm not taking a lot of time to do these guides in our normal style is because we know we're going to be getting an update here in a few weeks, which may change how the components work, and then I'm going to have to re-record all these guides anyway. So we're going to put them out in this fast style, that way you guys can see the builds and start using them and be prepared for when we get the components here in a few weeks. So having said all that, let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing we're going to look at is the weapon that I like to use on Keelan. I personally like to use the Peacemaker. You're going to see this as a running theme in a lot of my builds that are skill-based Descendants that don't benefit from Secret Garden or Blue Beetle directly. The reason I like Peacemaker is because it just has a lot of move speed, and when you're doing skill damage and skill killing. When you're doing skill killing, it does feel nice to move around the map quickly, and Peacemaker really lets you do that. We like to put triple sprint speed on this and really just move around the map as quick as possible. When it comes to the rest of the weapon, it doesn't matter what the role is, it doesn't matter what mods you put on it, you're not going to be using this weapon to do any damage, so you don't really even need to worry about it. The big thing here is we're just using it for move speed. Now Keelan is another Descendant like Viessa, where there is a use case for using Blue Beetle. Now with Blue Beetle, you're not going to benefit from the crit hit rate that you get from this weapon, because I've looked at him and no matter what I do, we don't get a usable crit rate. So you're not at this time going to build him into crit hit damage. So the only bonus you're going to get from this is the purification, which is a nice bonus, but you're going to lose a little bit of sprint speed. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. If you don't want to have to worry about getting debuffs put on your character, then go ahead and run the Blue Beetle. But if you're like me and you're just zipping around the map and it doesn't matter to you, I would look at using the Peacemaker. So for his secondary gun, we are going to be looking at the Last Dagger. This is a gun you're going to see on a ton of our builds. The Last Dagger is great, especially in the build that we have for it here. It's a very universal gun. And with it being a universal gun, you can use it against a lot of different content and a lot of different enemies without really having to reinvest into it too many times. So we are going to go ahead and go with a crit hit damage core. We're going to go with 2 firearm attack cores and 2 fire rate cores on this weapon. When it comes to the roll on it, you're going to go with weak point, firearm attack, and fire crit hit damage. When it comes to that bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, you can leave that on there. I've said it numerous times. I like this because I do use this gun for bossing. If you don't want to use it for bossing, feel free to roll that off for firearm crit hit rate. That might work a little bit better for you. It is going to make the gun less useful against Colossus, but not by much. When it comes to the mods on this, we are just increasing the base firearm attack. We're putting some crit hit damage on here, putting a little bit of weak point damage on here. We are adding fire rate, and then we are putting Firing Fiesta on. Firing Fiesta is definitely required with this gun because it allows us to have very short spike damage windows. And that's what we're using it for, and that really lets this weapon sing on most Descendants. Outside of that, we do have 1 uncatted slot, and you can put in whatever element damage benefits you in the content you're playing. And as you can see here, you'll be able to do that, and that makes this gun a lot more universal than some of the other builds out there. For his reactor, you do want it to have an optimized condition that matches whatever you're using. Because we are using Peacemaker, we will go ahead and put hand cannon on there. Now this is a singular reactor because we really care about the damage from his 2 and his 3. Now there are some synergies with the mods that we're going to show you, but I'll explain a little bit more about that when we get to it. But just know that for our reactor, we're really focusing on the mobbing part of his build. And that part is using his 2 and his 3 while we move around the map, and not so much using his 4 at the end of the match. Now, having said all that, when it comes to the roll on this, go ahead and put skill cooldown on here. You're going to want to be able to spam his dash as much as possible. And the cooldown is going to help you out on that. And then we finished it off with a singular skill power boost, just to eke a little bit more damage out of this build. When it comes to the components, again, we're going to use the tried and true Slayer set. We love the Slayer set. It's just a flat damage bonus. I know they've reworked a lot of components here recently. Even though they've reworked a lot of them, the Slayer set still comes out on top in most situations for me. While there are some sets that might offer you a slight advantage one way or the other, The fact of going out having to farm them and then trying to get the perfect roll on them just makes it not really that viable right now. When we get changes to the components, and if certain component sets have more cores or something like that, maybe we'll reevaluate it. But as it stands now, the Slayer set works exceedingly well on our boy Keelan, and that's what you're going to use here. The MP and MP recovery that we normally look for on these does not matter because Keelan does not use MP. So literally just get the set on here, try to get some max HP, try to get some defense, try to get some shield. But at the end of the day, the set is more important than anything. For his inversion reinforcements, we are going to mix it up, but only just a little bit. And the main reason we're going to change this from what we typically use on our skill Descendants is because Keelan does not get MP. He uses his unique resource. So because of that, the MP recovery module that we normally pick, we're just going to go ahead and leave off. So we're going to go ahead and do Arche circulation tactic, biodensity augmentation, and then we are going to pick adrenaline rush for the last slot. That adrenaline rush is just going to give him a little bit more move speed, which is always nice. Arche circulation tactic, again, is just going to give us a little bit more cooldown, and biodensity augmentation is going to give him a little bit more health, which is going to make his survivability a little bit better. Keelan has always been a little bit squishy, and you'll find that as you play him. So for Keelan's Arche tuning, we are going to go really heavy into skill power, and we're going to give him as much cooldown as we can. Obviously, there's only one node for that. Outside of that, there's not really much on this board to offer him. There are a few skill power nodes, and it's entirely up to you if you want to go for them. Now, I decided to opt the other way and really pick up some additional firearm attack just to help him when it comes to the end of the match, when it comes time to burn out those bosses. But you can grab the extra skill power nodes and maybe get rid of some of the weapon damage if you want. This is where it's more up to your play style. But at the end of the day, even with the changes to his mods, I still feel like when it comes to doing single target boss damage, you're better off just to plant your feet, use the last dagger, put in some damage, and then try to burst them out with the rest of your skills. So when it comes to the fellow for Keelan, we're just going to go ahead and use the Hagios Sheepdog again. We're not using shotguns, we're not using any purple ammo, we're not using heavy ammo, we're not really using any green bullets. All we're using is general rounds and his skills. So because of that, the Hagios Sheepdog is going to add more to you than the other dog, just because the Hagios Sheepdog does give you a little bit of HP recovery. So when it comes to the dog, this is the dog I would pick, but as always, use whichever dog you like. At the end of the day, the dog doesn't really matter that much. So now we're going to be looking at the mods for Keelan. We are going to go ahead and run Focus on Prey. You can leave this off if you want to. I'll explain how Focus on Prey works, like what the synergy is with the build. But at the end of the day, you are fine to leave it off if you decide that you don't really like it. Outside of Focus on Prey, we're going to be adding a little bit of HP to him, a lot of damage. We're putting a lot of damage, Focus on Singular, Singular Amp, Toxic Amp. We're going to be stacking that damage up, and then we're going to be putting Decimator on here as well. That way, as he kills things, he starts doing more damage, which is really going to let him do a lot of damage and kill a lot of things on the battlefield. Outside of that, we are going to crank that range. The range is really nice because that's how far away from him he damages when he dashes and when he gets to the end of his dash and it does the little explosion. So we want to be able to get as many things as we can as we're dashing, because those hits, one, inflict damage, and two, help us get our dashes back. So we want to be able to do as much as we can there. Outside of that, again, we're going to reduce the cooldown, and then we're just going to plan on spamming his skills nonstop. So now we're going to be looking at the gameplay loop here for Keelan. There are two different gameplay loops you need to be aware of. One is going to be his mobbing. When you're mobbing, you're going to focus on using your 2 and your 3. So at the end of the day, what you're going to want to do is something like this. You're going to dash through, you're going to pop your 3, you're going to dash through, you're going to pop your 3 once your 3 comes off cooldown, and you're going to just rinse and repeat this. And as you can see, we've got plenty of dash charges and we can keep our 3 up. So a few things you need to know about Keelan. If you run out of dash charges and nothing is around you, and you can see our 4 has not lit up, if you hit your 4, it will reload your dash charges. Well, not reload, but it will add some more charges to it. Where this will change is if you're near enemies. So if you dash and hit an enemy and they have the cloud on them and you hit your 4, you will do spike damage to the person that you hit and you will not get your charges back. And that's going to segue us into his focus on prey. If you look at our enemy, as we use our 1, we're going to see we're going to see numbers above their head. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and then 20. 20 is the max stacks that we can put on our enemy with focus on prey. Now we can get those stacks on there by using our 1, by using our 2, or by using our 3. So the benefit of using our 1 is it costs us nothing and it builds up our special resource. At the end of the day, the goal here when you're fighting a big enemy like a boss or an end of mission boss is to try to get that stack up to 20. Once you have that stack up to 20, you're going to want to be in range and pop your 4 on it. As you can see, we did about 8 million spike damage right there. Focus on prey allows us to build the stack up to 20, and that is what's allowing us to hit those big numbers. Now you can imagine there might be a time where you don't get enough damage to kill the enemy. When that happens, switch over to your last dagger, shoot a couple shots, reload, and then unload on them with your last dagger. And this is going to let you spike damage and really work on trying to burn them out the rest of the way. All right, guys, and that's everything you should need to know about Keelan. That is the full build and how to use him. Remember, when you're mobbing, you're going to rotate between your 2 and your 3, and you're going to use your 4 to get your dash charges back. When it comes to bossing at the end, you're going to try to use your 1 and your 2 to build up focus on prey stacks on the boss, and then you're going to use your 4 to do large spike damage. Now, if you find that the large spike damage just doesn't feel like it's worth you burning your entire stack on, you can dash through, back off a little bit, use your 4 to get more dashes, and then continue to dash through the enemy. At the end of the day, we are trying to utilize focus on prey, so using the dashes and your 1 to get those stacks on the enemy will really help, and it'll let you put a big chunk damage on them before you switch over to your last dagger to burn them out. But at the end of the day, let me know down in the comments below how you like to play Keelan. Is this the way you like to play him, or do you like to work on different builds and different mods? Definitely let us know in the comments below so we as a community can work on additional fun builds to use with Keelan. And if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more First Descendant content, as well as other games in the future. And if you like us and want to get to know more about us, consider coming over to the live channel on Twitch. We stream 5 days a week and we would love to have you there. Our community is always growing and we'd love to bring you in just so we can work on playing games like First Descendant and a bunch of other things that the community enjoys. But having said all of that, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.